Hello there. Welcome back to EBM N5. In this video, we want to look at the module one. So we are going to look at the module on personal management. So moving on to our module one, you see that these are the contents that we have within the context of our module one, whereby we have our introduction, and then from the intro, we are supposed to differentiate between management and leadership. And then where we are going to look at the role of habits in a person. We also look at 7 habits of effective personal management, which is we're going to look at proactivity, beginning with end in mind, determining the combination, and then the habit, and then we've got our personal motivation that is sharpening your soul. Then on the last part, we have got personal planning. So basically, these are the contents that we have according to our module one. So moving on to the what is expected in module one. So after completing this module, you will be able to after at the end of the module, you are supposed to be able to define the concepts of leadership and management, illustrate the different components of a habit by means of a practical example. So that's again, and then you're going to indicate how a habit can be changed in your life. Combine a personal mission statement, complete a weekly planner, distinguish between urgent and important activities, determine your urgent or important orientation by means of questionnaire, integrated apply teamwork and 7 components of self-management in group situations. So these are the expectations that are there after completion of our module one. Firstly, we have our introduction, whereby in our introduction, there is an explanation in terms of the importance of recognizing success in your life. So remember, when you are running a business, you'd see that entrepreneurs are only interested about the success of the business without taking into account the success of their personal life. So basically, the introduction is just trying to appreciate that uh, success of an individual can also enhance the success of an entrepreneur as the entrepreneur is running the business. So the introduction reads when people start talking about their work, their families, and what is important to them, one often gets an impression that something is missing. It seems that most people are good at one aspect of their lives while neglecting everything else. So it's emphasizing that there is need for striking a balance. As it reads, striking a balance is of vital importance because success within a business will only become a reality if you are successful within yourself. So moving on, you'll see that we now have the section of management and leadership, where we try to understand what exactly is management and also what exactly is leadership. So basically, what management we are saying, basically, it is described as the administration of businesses. When entrepreneurs are running their businesses, the administration part is the management. So basically, that's what we. Then moving on to our leadership, you see that leadership now is now described as the quality of an individual, or we can define it as the quality of an individual, or if you are at a workplace, we are talking about quality of the workers that workers consist in influencing or guiding the other workers that are there. So basically, it's a set of mindsets and behavior that aligns people in a collective direction. So if you have a mindset that aligns people in a collective direction, we call that leadership. And at the end of the day, it enables every worker in that business or organization to work together. So basically, that's what we have in terms of leadership and management. So we have a definition that we are given here in the textbook, whereby the definition of leadership, as it says, it is the ability of an individual to obtain the support and action of people, that there is an element of initiation of gaining support from whoever is below you. If it's a working place, we are saying gaining the support of your subordinates and making sure that you direct them to achieve a common goal. So basically, that's what we have in terms of leadership. So we have also explanations that we are given there is it reads leadership also is also regarded as a first creation. So on the first line, it reads leadership is the so-called first creation, and it deals with issues such as the things that you want to accomplish. So management is the second creation and refers to questions such as the best. The leadership is described as the first creation, and then management also being described in the second creation. So basically, what it means is uh, for an organization or business to be successful, leadership should come first. So that's how we are saying the first creation. Then management, we have to come while less leadership is there. So you see that at the end of the day, the leadership is the one uh, which sets the way things are supposed to be done. So management, when the management comes, they now know what is expected and what needs to be done. So management will now enhance the activities or the methods that are going to be used so that business can be successful. So basically, that's what we have. Then next paragraph, we are being told that a management means that you already know what must be done. You are only looking for the best, what was determined by the leadership function. So this is exactly as we were trying to explain that as management, you already know what is expected, but you are just making sure that everything is done in an efficient way so that the goals of that business or organization are achieved. So we have that as leadership, and you see that our title that we have is saying leadership is not management. So you'd see that in most instances, people interchangeably use these two terms, whereby in place of management, people use leadership, and then in place of leadership, they also use management, which is not correct, as the heading that we have there is emphasizing that leadership is not management. So let's take note of that and be able to differentiate between the two. So moving on to the next aspect that we have. So we have our conclusion. Is it's summing up the explanations that we have in terms of management and leadership. So we also have a statement that we have here that is enhancing the discrepancy that we have between management and leadership, as it reads. Management is about doing the right things. So basically, that's how also we can try to differentiate between the two terms that we have. So we also have the last paragraph that we can try to go through, which reads the message is that no management success can compensate for failure in leadership. However, leadership is difficult since we often fear change. It could cost money, or even worse, we could be so caught up in a management function that we don't even notice the changes. That we don't even notice the changes around us. So basically, that's what we have in terms of that part of management and leadership. So we are moving on to personal management, whereby we can try to define personal management as it involves the important task of handling employee relationships. So the task that we have of handling employee relationship describes personal management. So this means creating positive connections among staff in the company. So we should also be able to create positive connections among staff in the company, as we call that a personal management. So you see that other personal management, the first aspect that we are going to look at is habits, whereby we are going to look at the role of habits in a person. But firstly, we can try to understand what exactly is a habit within maybe within the context of our workplaces in business operations. So you would see that a habit is a routine of a behavior. We can describe it as a routine of a behavior that is repeated regularly and tends to occur subconsciously. So basically, it's something that you are doing each and every time, and every time it occurs, you cannot, in a way, sometimes not be able to control it. So basically, that becomes a habit. So basically, we are saying it's a tendency to act in a particular way. So that is a habit. So we have a textbook explanation that we have in terms of habits, and that we have here, which reads habits are consistent and are often unconscious patterns of behavior that express our character and determine our effectiveness. So basically, this is what we have. So habits becomes of great importance in terms of business operations, because the way things are done in businesses is going to affect maybe the success of the business. So something that is going to be done time and again have to be a good habit. Remember, a habit cannot only be a good habit; it can be a bad habit. We can give an example of smoking. Smoking is a habit, which is something that may be hazardous to your health, but it's something that we cannot regard as a healthy thing. So basically, we are saying those bad habits should be wiped away within the operations of businesses so that we enhance the success of the business. So basically, that's the essence behind analyzing habits, the role of habits in a person. So we are given an example here in the second paragraph where it is smoking, for example, is a habit and a bad one too. It is an addiction too. They can break the habit. Most of them will tell you that they don't want to do this. So basically, you see that even smokers, they do recognize that what they are doing is not good, but they cannot stop it because it's a habit. It's something that has unconscious patterns as described in the explanation of habits here. So so this is what we have. So we have got elements of habits that we have here that we're going to look at. So the formation of habit consists of three important elements, and they are. So these are the elements that we have that consist formation of habits. We've got knowledge, we have got skill, and we have got desire. So basically, on knowledge, we're saying know what to do and why, and skill, how to do it, and desire, we've got the motivation, they want to do it. So these combined, obviously, they are going to form a habit. So basically, this is what we have on this part. So moving on, you see that now we have our next page that we have in terms of habits. So we have a continuation in terms of smoking as a habit and how smoking can be bad to the health of individuals. So basically, so we can come on to the last sentence that we have here, which is therefore a habit can only be changed or created if all three elements are present. So we have identified the three elements, and then other habits that we probably would like to change up. So we are given examples of habits that we have there. That being impatient, impatience is a habit. It's something that someone has inside. So we would see that it's something that can happen repeatedly without being conscious of that something being happening. So basically, that's what we have in terms of examples of habits. We also have being overcritical, forgetfulness, also when arriving late at work, not being punctual also can also be a habit. Selfishness, fear of speaking in a group. So you'd see that most of them, if not all of them, are not good habits within the operations of businesses. So obviously, they need to be stopped. So obviously, it means there should be ways that should be put in place so that we make sure that these bad habits do not continue transpiring within the operations of businesses. So we are saying it is important to adopt only good habits. So you'd see that here it reads if it is accepted that habits can be changed, then it means that we can adopt habits that can make us successful. So successful habits are the ones that we regard as normal within the operations of businesses. So basically, we are saying uh, there are seven habits that can make a difference in the operations of business. So if you come here in the last sentence that we have, we are going to discuss seven habits that can make a difference in your life and influence your businesses. So we have got the seven habits of effective personal management. So what are those seven habits? So these seven habits are the habits that they are the habits that are good, obviously, and they are going to influence positively to the success of the businesses. So we have the habits there as listed, and they are subdivided into two categories of private victories, and then we've got also public victories. So you'd see that these are the seven habits that we have. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, but they are subdivided into the private victories, and also we've got the public victories. So we've got three under private victories, and we've got for under public victories. So under private victories, we've got proactivity. We've got begin with the end in mind. We've got prioritize. Then under public victories, we've got the other viewpoint, think winning, synergy, personal motivation. So basically, this is what we have under seven habits of effective personal management. So we are going to start to look at the seven habits of private victories. So within the context of this video, we are only going to look at private victories. So if you move on, you'd see that on private victories, we've got proactivity as our first habit. So proactivity as a term, we can also try to define it as it is a self-initiated behavior that affects solving a problem before it occurs. So any self-initiated behavior that is put in place to solve a problem before it occurs, you are being proactive. So basically, to be proactive is an initiation of a process after identifying that there might be a problem that might come in future. So you act in advance. So that's being proactive. So basically, we are saying acting in advance of a future situation rather than reacting. So you are not reacting, but you are acting in advance. So so you see that that is taking control of a situation and making early changes. So basically, you see that this has been made clear in terms of what exactly is a proactivity. So we have our proactivity as our first private victory, and there is a tendency amongst many people to blame someone else for their situation. It means that factors beyond their control are determining their lives. This is probably true, and our country's history supports this argument. The arguments for this belief can be divided into three categories, namely, we have got genetic determinism. So we have this under proactivity, and we have got the first part being a genetic determinism. So we've got an explanation also that we have in terms of genetic determinism. We are saying factors are beyond their control. We are saying factors that are beyond the control of individuals that determine their behavior. What can be the reasons behind that those factors that can make you act in a certain way and that you cannot control. Something that is sort of um, that is not happening consciously. So basically, that's what we have. So we have that now subdivided into three categories. And the reasons why we can have such scenarios that one can act in a way that he or she cannot control. So we are saying it can be genetic determinism as the first reason. So it means that this explanation now that we have beneath our genetic determinism, it means that your grandparents, so it's something that is genetic, that is coming from your parents. So you're saying it means that your grandparents handed it down to you. It refers to aspects as such as to suffer from, for example, heart disease. So basically, we are saying it runs in the family. So or it is inherited, something that is inherited that is making you act in a certain way. So that is genetic determinism. Then we've got also psychic determinism. This now is depends on the upbringing. How were you brought up? The environment that you grew in can also determine your behavior. So basically, we are saying this all the explanation. This refers to how your parents influenced you, your upbringing, and other experiences contributed toward the formation of your character. You are shy and unable to speak in front of people, or always a member of the family abused you as a child. So those are some of the things that are surrounding the explanation of psychic determinism, whereby we are talking about how were you brought up, and the environment that you grew up, and the people that were surrounding you, and even the environment that you were in can also determine the way you react to things and the way you address yourself when you are at workplaces. So basically, that's what we have. Then we've got also environmental determinism, which is government policy. Your boss or the economy of the country influences or affects you. They are responsible for your situation and they are to blame. So this becomes this last category that we have. So that's what we have in terms of our proactivity. Remember, proactivity, if you look back, you'll see that our proactivity is the first uh, element of private victories. Remember, we've got three ones. We've got proactivity, we've got begin with the end in mind, we've got the prioritize. So we are now moving on to begin with the end in mind. So we can try to move forward as we check in terms of beginning with the end in mind. So we are now here at beginning with the end in mind. So beginning with the end in mind, we want also actually to understand what does it actually portray. You'll see that basically it is about asking yourself questions to determine your objectives. So you need to know your objectives, where you are going, and that is a beginning with an end in mind. So identifying where we want to go and who we want to be is also surrounding, beginning with an end in mind. So at the end of the day, you should have a clear goal and purpose. So we are saying a clear goal and purpose. You can define and tackle actions that will help you react to that scenario, or that if you are given a scenario of a goal in terms of that goal. So basically, uh, when you are starting to do something, you already know what you want to achieve at the end of the day. That is beginning with the end in mind. So the explanation that we have reads, once you've decided that you can make a difference to your own situation, it becomes important to decide where you are going to or what you would like to achieve. So if you don't do this, you won't know whether you have achieved your goal. Before you go on a trip, you first decide where you are going to go. Once you have determined that, your choice of transportation is a lot easier. So basically, this is just a reiteration of what we are trying to say, that know what you want to achieve at the end of the day, so that you can know where you are going. And obviously, this is going to give you proper direction in terms of how you are going to conduct yourself as you go forward. So basically, this is a beginning with an end in mind. So we also have the last part that is we can also try to refer back. We have got beginning with an end in mind. So obviously, we are now left with the last part, which is prioritize. So before we move on to prioritize, under beginning with an end in mind, we also have some components that are emanating from begin with the end in mind. We've got the personal mission statement. We've got also roles you fulfill. So you see that under personal mission statement, basically mission statement is basically a short statement of why you exist as a person. That's a personal mission statement. So it is a simple and brief description that encompasses the purpose of your existence as a person. So remember, this is from a personal point of view. So we have also an explanation that we have in terms of personal mission statement, that is to begin with an end in mind, is to develop a personal plan or a personal mission statement. You can also call it a personal constitution. So this mission statement focuses on what you want to be, that is the character, and what you want to do, that is contributions and achievements, and the values of principles in which it is based. So this means that all your future decisions will be guided by your constitution. And if you violate it, hopefully your conscience will bother you. So that's what we have. So we have three ethics when combining your mission statements that we have there, which means of your character. That's what we have as elements of a personal mission statement. So moving on, you would see that we also remember we said under beginning and end of mind, we've got a personal mission statement. We also have roles you fulfill. So on the roles you fulfill, we are talking about what roles you think you should save in your within your existence as a person. So your mission statement must not be seen as an isolated document. From a mission statement, certain roles are forthcoming. Know that we have different roles that we are fulfilling in your daily life. So basically, this is what we have. And then you see that we have got examples of roles that you can include. So these are some of the examples of roles that we have. Being a student is a role. Being the eldest child in the family is a role. A member of the SRC is a role again. Being a chairperson of your church, and that is youth movement, church youth movement. Uh, being a boyfriend, being a girlfriend is also a role. Being a breadwinner is a role. So the list is endless in terms of roles. And depending on what role are you serving within your existence as a person. So basically, this is what we have in terms of our mission statement and roles as elements of begin with an end in mind. So obviously, we now need to move on to the last part, which is on determining your priorities. So prioritize, what are we doing exactly when we are prioritized? Because for us to determine your priorities, you should be able to be to prioritize. So to prioritize basically is to determine uh, the order for dealing with scenarios. For example, we are talking about putting them in order of their relative importances, and then maybe you deal with the most important alternative that we have at your disposal. So basically, that's a prioritizing. So we have got also explanations that we have beneath that in terms of determining your priorities. So determining priorities can be defined as putting first things first, which means that certain activities or issues are dealt with first. So some people call it time management. So this is determining your priorities. There is, however, a very important difference. The idea is to manage time, but rather to manage yourself, forcing yourself to focus on things that are most important to you. So basically, that's a prioritizing, focusing on things that are most important to you, things that are urgent. So remember, we are also going to have a scenario of important things and urgent things. So basically, you would see that obviously the ones that are going to be attended first are the urgent ones. Because they need to be dealt with quickly. So that's the issue of prioritizing. So, so you see that also there are also urgent things that are not important and things that are neither important nor urgent. So you can as well put it in the form of a matrix in terms of important and urgent things. So, in our next video, we are going to start on public victories as we wind up on the first module. That is our module one. We are still working on our module one, and we are saying the next video that we are going to upload will be on public victories as we go forward to the end of module one. So, let's stay tuned, and please don't forget to subscribe and share to our channel. Let's get notified. Let's turn on the notification button after subscribing. And please, let's share the link to our colleagues who are doing EBM N5. As for this video, I'm signing out. We'll meet again in the next video.